Hey guys, welcome back to Robotics. Today we're going to add something to our the circuits that we've been building that allows us to change what happens depending on what we do. So before we would create a circuit, and then once we add power to it, if we created a complete or closed circuit, it would start working, right? And if we took off the power, it would turn off. Now what we want to do this time is we're going to create a circuit, a working circuit, but when we put the power on, it won't be on, actually. The light won't be on until we actually do something. And so the word that we need to learn about right now is called conditional, or condition. So let's write that out. Condition. All right, so what does condition mean? Well, in everyday life, condition means that something happens only if something is true. So, um, for example, it's like you guys go to school on what condition? On, well, probably many conditions, but one condition that I'm thinking of is only during a weekday. So only during Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday or Friday. So that would be the condition would be that it's a weekday. Now for our circuit, what we want to do is think of what condition we want in order for our light to turn on. So we're going to use a button. Now, how does a button work? How does it used in electronics? Well, if you think about almost any device, like to go with like an iPhone, there's going to be a button on there. There's a button to turn it off and on. What do buttons do? They help you turn on your electronics. So that's what we're going to do. Now, there are many types of buttons. Now, the one that we want to use today is called momentary. Momentary. All right. Now, what does momentary mean? Well, moment means like just for a little bit of time. Okay. Now, what that means for buttons is that when you press the button, it only presses for a moment, for however long you hold down, and then when you go, the button comes back up. All right, so we're going to talk about how that works, and we're going to try that out. But let's remember that keyword. It's a momentary button. All right, and so at this point, let's go ahead and pull out our button. There's actually several of them inside your kit there, I think, or maybe there's one. We got one button, okay. And so inside your bag, I'm going to switch over my camera here. All right. And what we want is to get this guy right here, okay? So one thing you want to notice is that it has 4 legs. I'll move these things out of the way here. And when we talk about this button, we want to make sure that we turn it the right way. So kind of like the breadboard needs to be like this. If we turn the breadboard like this, everything I tell you gets messed up, right? So same thing with the button. We want to make sure that when we're talking about the button, when we're looking at it, we want to make sure that the legs are out to the sides. So let's make sure you can see that there. And I'll draw it. So you don't want to do it so that so the legs are like this way at the top. See, that's going to get us messed up. We want to look at it so that the button legs are to the sides. All right. So I'm going to put that here for a second, and let's go to the whiteboard and let's draw what this button looks like. So the button looks like this. All right. Square with that circle there, and then we want the legs to be And as I mentioned, and as you've seen, there are 4 legs on this button. Now, here's the thing about these legs. Kind of like the breadboard, certain things are connected to each other and certain things are not connected to each other. So the way that works, the top 2 legs, those are connected to one another. And the bottom 2 legs, those are connected to each other. All right? So if I counted these out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, they are connected. Now I want you to notice, remember I talked about the momentary button thing? The button, actually, the thing that you press, if you press it, you're going to hear a click, and that you're pressing it for a moment, and let's say when you let go, you're going to hear another click. So that second click is the end of the moment. Okay? So click, beginning of the moment, you're holding, you let go, the end of the moment. All right? Now, when you click, what's going to happen inside the button is that, I'm draw a dashed line here. All right? So what's happening is that when I press the button, the top legs connect to the bottom legs. All right? Another way to think of it, when I press the button, so click like that, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they are all connected together. All right, so that's what you do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use this fact. The fact that when you press the button, all the legs are connected. When you let go of the button, only the top is connected and only the bottom is connected. We're going to use that fact to create a conditional circuit. So let's see how we're going to do that. All right, so let's try. All right. So here we go. We're going to draw a schematic now. So remember, that's the plan of our circuit. Okay. And this will be our Uno. We're going to use 5V as usual. We're going to use our resistor because we need to resist some of the electricity. And let's go ahead and use 470. An ohm is the unit for resistor. All right. And if you remember, 470 is the one without the red stripe, okay? The resistor without the red stripe. All right, and then we're going to do our light. Draw the plus and minus. And then this goes G. All right. So if we just do this circuit, we've done this before. Once we give it power, the light turns on, right? Now we want to make it a conditional circuit so that it only turns on if I press the button. So watch what we do. So I'm going to make an opening. Okay. Button in here. Four legs, right? And let's go ahead and draw connections inside. All right. So check this out. I connect this, the top legs, to right here, and the bottom legs to right here. And let me zoom in here. Let's think about what's going to happen here. So let's say there's power to the Uno, right? So if I don't press the button, what's going to happen? If I don't press the button, the electricity try to go from the 5V through the resistor, through the light, through here, through the top leg, and then it's going to try to get to the GND. But if I don't press the button, look, the top legs do not connect to the bottom legs. And then so what's going to happen? it's going to get stuck there. Okay? So now let's see what happens. If you press the button, though, what happens? The top leg connects to the bottom leg. So if and remember, only for that moment, as long as you press the button, those to the bottom, and if the top leg connects to the bottom leg, electricity comes through here, and it's like goes down that path, goes to GND, and once I do that, the light turns on. And that's it. So let's try that. Okay? Let's go ahead and build this circuit. All right, so I'm going to grab our breadboard here. I cleared everything off so that it's not confusing. Okay? And let's start from the top. So let's start with the 5V. So I got my Uno here. Red wire for my 5V, so I find 5V. And I like to use our power rail, so let's go ahead and stick in to our power rail. I think that works. That's good. All right, what's next? Resistor. 470 ohm resistor. All right, one side goes into the power rail, like that. And the other side, let's just go into a new row somewhere. I'll go like right there. Okay. Cool. And then what's next? Our LED, right? So let's grab one LED here. And let's look. The long leg, or the plus, connects to the other side of the resistor. I'm looking at the schematic right now, right? So long leg right here, okay, connects to this row, because that's where the resistor is. Boom. All right. And then the short leg, or the minus, is going to be connected to the button, but let's just put it somewhere. So a new row, I'm going to put it down there like that. Cool. Okay, make sure you guys can see this here. Okay. All right. So I got my short legs on this row right here. So now what I got to do is take my button, and let's go ahead and make sure your button is turned the right way, so the legs are on the side. Okay. And let's see, on my schematic, I see that the top legs are connected to the minus right here, right? So I take the top legs and put it on the same row as the minus of the light, like that. And you want to stick it in. You might need it, you know, like these legs, they might not fit in perfectly, so you might need to bend the legs a little bit. But it should cover, let's see, 4, because it's kind of wide, the button. So it's going to cover 4 holes. Oh, see, this one's all off, so let's fix that. There. So go in. So you see it covers 1, 2, 3, 4 holes across. Okay. Cool. So my top is connected to the minus leg, and then we have one last connection here. What's it say? Our GND is connected to the bottom row. So let's get a black wire. All right, and let's connect one side to the bottom row. There. All right, bottom row of the button, and then the other side, where does this go? GND on the Uno. Cool. So at this point, our conditional circuit has been built, And let's give it power. Now when we plug it in, because we haven't satisfied the condition, the light is not going to be on. All right? And so what's the condition? The condition for this circuit is that the light only turns on if I press it for a moment. So I press it, my light turns on. And so right now, when I press it, the moment has begun. And to end the moment, I let go. Give me another moment. End my moment. There. All right, there we go. So that's our first momentary circuit or conditional circuit using a momentary button, turning on one LED. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take it another step, kind of combining some of the things that we've learned. So going back to our schematic, let's if we add two lights. So to add, what we need to do is always just put the other light using the same connections as the first light. So you take the second light, so I'm going to draw it, and you connect it to the same connections as the first light. So there's plus and minus. We take plus and connect it to the plus of the first light. We take the minus and connect it to the minus of the first light. That's all we do. So let's get our other light here. Okay, here we go. The long leg connects to the same row as the long leg of the first one. And the short leg connects to the same row as the short leg, but check it out, I'm stuck. Because the button covers 4 holes, and then the last hole is taken by the light, so I can't connect it there. So this is where we need to use our kind of thinking skills again. So how are we going to do this? There are not enough holes there. So when this happens, you usually want to make a new row. So watch this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the short leg of that first light. I'm going to put it on this side over here. Okay, move it over here. Oh, make sure you guys can see this here. You know what? I'm going to take this light out for now, just so it's not confusing. And I'm going to stick it like that. Okay. So this is the first LED right here. The long leg is still in the same place. The short leg I put down here now on row number 7. And you notice that there's nothing in row number 7. So what I can do now is take a wire and connect here to over here. And once I do that, I have my connection again. So let's use an orange wire here. Okay, for a connection. So one side goes here, and the other side goes to the top row of the button, like so. All right. So what I've done is I've made a bridge. All right. This orange wire right here is bridging row 7 right here to the other side of row 7, which is going to be the top row of the button. So let's just first make sure this works. Okay, that still works. So my bridge is working. Now that I've done this bridge, check it out. I have 1, 2, and 3. I have 3 extra holes here now where I can make the connection. All right, now let's get my second light back again, now that I made more connections available. Let's take the long leg and connect it to the same row as the long leg of the first light, which is up there. And then looking back at my schematic again, the short leg, or the minus, goes to the same row as the short leg of the first one. So the short leg of the first one now, you see it's on row 7, right? So then I just take it and stick it into the same row, and we should be good. We should be good. Let's turn it on. Check it out. When I press it, I have 2 lights on now. And just for good measure, guys, let's go ahead and add the third light. Again, we're going to add the third light, connecting it to the same places, first and second. Plus goes to the same, minus goes to the same. So once you have your circuit figured out, it's really easy to keep adding more lights. You just use that same pattern. Alright, so third light, long leg, same row that all the other long legs are in there, and then short leg on the same row as all the other short legs. Alright, let's see if it goes. There we go. So there we go. We have a conditional circuit using 3 LEDs and a momentary button. Cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw another circuit, and I want to challenge you guys to build it. Alright, so I'm going to draw something that's going to look kind of similar. We'll see. We'll see what you guys think. Okay. Alright, so the circuit I'm thinking of is this one. We've got our Uno. We've got our 5V. We've got our resistor. And what we're going to do is actually going to put our button connected to the resistor now. Okay. See that? The top row is connected to the resistor. And then the bottom row is connected. And that's connected to G. Alright, so what's different about this one? Well, before, remember the button was down in this area, down at the bottom, the G and D, but this time I put the button up here. So the button's in a different place, but it's going to be doing the same thing where it's flipping the circuit or creating a path for the electricity when you press it. So what's going to happen is that when you press the button, electricity to go here. When you press it, it can go from top to bottom, right? So then it can go down and through and on. Okay? So your challenge this week is just to build this circuit right here. All right? And so it's similar to what we've done before that we just did on the video, but you're putting the button in a different place. So the thing to double check that to make sure that you did your circuit correctly is right here, guys. I'm going to highlight in yellow. See the resistor? The resistor is connected to the button. All right. So before you try it, just make sure that you got a resistor that's connected to the button. All right. Here we go. And so, you know what? My typing here. All right. 1. Build this circuit. Okay. And then number 2, I want you to take this circuit and add a second light. So kind of think about what we did on the first example. So similar kind of thing. Add a second light, and then 3, add a third light. All right, so just to recap, you're going to build this circuit right here based on the schematic. You're going to then add a second light to it once you made sure it works. And once you get the 2 lights working, go ahead and add a third light. All right, that is it for now. We will talk more on Thursday, and pretty soon we're going to start thinking about, so we made a conditional circuit here where it only works when we press the button. Now, after that, the next step is thinking about how do we make a conditional circuit but using the computer, so using code. So that's the next thing that we're going to talk about. All right, have fun, and talk to you guys later.